Sonic 06 is not that bad. Okay, before you guys leave the video, please hear me out. I know Sonic 06 is one of the worst video games ever made, but I have this weird infatuation with this game that I just can't get over. Every time I hang out with friends, every time I'm just talking about random games with people, I always somehow manage to mention Sonic 06 somewhere, and everyone always calls me out for it. But that's because I truly believe this game has some merit to it. There's a reason why it was made. And yes, it's probably because it needed to kick Sega in the ass and let them know, yo, wake up. But I also believe that Sonic 06 is a legendary game. And for all the wrong reasons and some right reasons, which we'll get over in the video. But before we do, guys, if you don't mind liking the video, subscribing to the channel, you already know we do a bunch of content like this every single week. So if you want to be part of the Yurachima clan, hit the subscribe button. But anyways, guys, let's talk about Sonic 06 and why I believe this is one of the most legendary releases of all time. You know, I played a lot of Sonic games over the years, both the good ones and the what the hell happened here ones. But if there's one Sonic game that will always live rent-free in my head, it's this one, Sonic the Hedgehog 2006, or as most people call it, Sonic 06. Now I know what you're thinking, why would anyone willingly revisit Sonic 06? Don't you like yourself? And yeah, it's bad, like really bad. But here's the thing, for 12-year-old me, this wasn't just a bad game. This was the most epic, hype, mind-blowing thing I had ever seen in my life. Before we get into my personal roller coaster, let's set the stage. Sonic was in a weird spot in the mid-2000s. Sonic Heroes was fine, Shadow the Hedgehog existed, and Sega was celebrating Sonic's 15th anniversary with this big HD reboot. Problem is, they split the dev team. Half worked on this, the other half worked on Sonic and the Secret Rings. Deadlines were tight, the PS3 was insanely expensive, and Sonic's reputation was already hanging by a thread. Basically, Sega tried to do way too much at once, and what we got was one of the most infamous launches in gaming history. So how did I end up here? Well, the Xbox 360 was my first HD console. Up until then, we were mostly a PlayStation and Nintendo family, but the PS3 was crazy expensive, so the 360 was the affordable next-gen option. And by this point, I was already a huge Sonic fan. I still remember sitting in middle school when my best friend brought in a gaming magazine, and it was this massive spread of Sonic 06, screenshots, details, the whole thing. My 12-year-old brain couldn't handle it. Sonic running through a realistic city, new characters, next-gen graphics, this was it. This was Sonic Adventure 3. Now, I didn't get it right away because I had to wait for my middle school graduation. The deal was, if I walked the stage, I get a 360. I can't even tell you how hyped I was counting down those days, knowing the console and Sonic 06 were waiting for me. And before you ask, wait, didn't you hear the bad word of mouth? Nope, I was 12. I didn't use the internet for gaming news. All I had was magazines. So when I finally got my 360, I went to Game Crazy with my mom to pick up my first games. I walked out with 3, Halo 3, Blue Dragon, and of course, Sonic 06. I'll never forget the guy behind the counter. He looked at my stack, smiled, and said, "Great selection of games, except this one," pointing straight at Sonic 06. I must have looked like I saw a ghost. What do you mean it's bad? It looks awesome. But I shrugged it off, handed over my allowance money, and went home. And honestly, I loved it. Yeah, the loading screens were long, the story was weird, and the glitches were everywhere, but I didn't care. This was my first next-gen Sonic. This was the Sonic Adventure 3 I've been waiting for. The same kind of magic I felt playing Pokemon Red, Kingdom Hearts 1, or Resident Evil 4, I felt that with Sonic 06. Of course, once I got older and started browsing gaming forums and YouTube, I realized, oh, people hate this game. Like, really hate it. And I was just sitting there thinking, wait, what? Did we even play the same game? Years later, I revisited around the age of 21, and yeah, the nostalgia goggles came off real quick. The problems were way more obvious. Busted hit detection, levels that were borderline unplayable, load screens that tested my patience. But even then, I walked away thinking, okay, it's bad, but not worst game ever bad. And now, at 31 after replaying it for this retrospective, my feelings are kind of full circle. Sonic 06 is terrible, but I still love it. Let's talk gameplay. You've got 3 main campaigns, Sonic, Shadow, and Newcomer Silver. Sonic's campaign is easily the best of the 3. Some of his level design is actually pretty solid, but then you hit the max speed sections. As a kid, I thought they were just tough. Now I realize they're broken beyond belief. The hit detection is laughable, and half the time you die because the game just decides nope. Still, I can't lie, I had fun with Sonic stages. Shadow's campaign is just fine. Even as a kid, his homing attack always felt clunky compared to Sonic's. And then they threw in vehicles which sounded cool on paper, but never really were fun to control. I don't hate Shadow's sections, but I don't love them either. And finally, Silver's campaign. Here's where things get spicy. Silver's been a punching bag since day one, and yeah, his gameplay is rough, but 13-year-old me loved playing as Silver. His telekinetic powers were cool, and I didn't mind the slower pace. Even now, I respect the vision. Sega wanted all 3 Hedgehogs to feel unique, and they nailed that part. Still, he's divisive. Personally, I can't even decide if I like him more than Shadow. What about you guys, Shadow or Silver? Let me know in the comments below. And of course, the side characters. Yikes. Omega feels weak. Tails has those awful bomb attacks. Knuckles and Amy are just sad versions of themselves. Blaze the Cat was actually fun, but her levels are so short you barely get to enjoy her. Like the adventure games, you gotta beat all 3 campaigns to unlock the final story. And while the final level is a hot mess, I'll give it this. Going Super Sonic, Super Shadow, and Super Silver did feel epic. Alright, now let's talk about something that Sonic 06 absolutely nailed. The music. I don't care what anyone says, the soundtrack is phenomenal. You've got bangers like Crisis City, White Acropolis, Kingdom Valley, and they all go ridiculously hard for a game this broken. Like, who approved of this? The gameplay might be falling apart, but the composers were in the studio acting like they were saving the world. And then there's his world. Oh man, this is still one of my top 3 Sonic themes of all time. It's cheesy, it's edgy, it's got 3 different versions across the game, and somehow they all slap. As a kid, I thought this was the coolest song ever made, and honestly, I still do. If Sonic 06 gave us nothing else, it gave us his world, and that alone earns it some legendary points in my book. Now, if only the story was as good as the soundtrack. Spoiler, it's not. As a kid, I thought it was amazing. Big stakes, big drama, gave me Sonic Adventure 2 vibes, which is my favorite game in the series. But as an adult, oh my god, this story is insane. Time travel nonsense, apocalyptic monsters, and the infamous moment where Sonic gets kissed by a human princess. Even 12-year-old me knew that was the dumbest thing I'd ever seen. It's one of those plots where if you try to explain it out loud, you sound like you're making it up. So there's this princess named Elise. She cries flames. Silver comes through from the future to stop Sonic, but Shadow's also here. Then everyone dies, but time travel resets everything. Except not really. Yeah, it's that kind of story. I wish I could tell you guys that revisiting the game made me realize something unique or different, but no, this story is awful. Although I will say, if you don't take it seriously, it makes for some laugh out loud entertainment. Before wrapping up, I've got to mention Sonic P6. This is a fan remake of Sonic 06, but from the ground up, and it's incredible. Almost every issue is fixed. Controls, physics, load times. It feels like what Sega wanted Sonic 06 to be. And this is just one fan doing it. I play this version every year, and it's the best way to experience Sonic 06 today. So where do I land? Look, Sonic 06 is a mess. A beautiful, broken, hilarious mess. Sega flew way too close to the sun and got burned. For a lot of people, this was the moment they lost faith in Sonic. And yet, the series survived. We've got Generations, Mania, Frontiers, and now Sonic's thriving again with movies, crossovers, and a whole new generation of fans. Most franchises don't come back from their Sonic 06. E.T. killed Atari, Duke Nukem never recovered, but Sonic, he's still here. So yeah, Sonic 06 is terrible, but it's also unforgettable. It's infamous, it's ridiculous, it's legendary. And for better or worse, it's part of why I'll always love Sonic the Hedgehog. Thanks again for watching, guys. Let me know down in the comments what you think of Sonic 06. Did you hate it, love it, or are you like me and weirdly somewhere in between? Either way, it's one game we'll never forget. Love you all so much, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.